Picture this, a pair of AR glasses infused with the power of multimodal AI, crafted by none other than the creators of Pokémon Go. A revolutionary technology that supercharges your smartphone camera with AI capabilities, unlocking a universe of possibilities right at your fingertips. And if that's not enough, how about a learning platform powered by AI designed to teach you how to code? That's exactly what CodeSignal has brought to the table. A revolutionary platform that harnesses the power of AI to empower you on your coding journey, making learning more intuitive, engaging, and downright magical. Your phone's camera is as much software as it is hardware, and Glass is hoping to improve both. But while its wild anamorphic lens creeps to market, the company, running on $9.3 million in new money, has released an AI-powered camera upgrade that it says vastly improves image quality without any weird AI upscaling artifacts. Glass AI is a purely software approach to improving images, what they call a Neural Image Signal Processor, ISP. ISPs are basically what take the raw sensor output, often flat, noisy, and distorted, and turn that into the sharp, colorful images we see. The ISP is also increasingly complex, as phone makers like Apple and Google like to show, synthesizing multiple exposures, quickly detecting and sharpening faces, adjusting for tiny movements, and so on. And while many include some form of machine learning or AI, they have to be careful. Using AI to generate detail can produce hallucinations or artifacts as the system tries to create visual information where none exists. Such super-resolution models are useful in their place, but they have to be carefully monitored. Glass makes both a full camera system based on an unusual lozenge-shaped front element and an ISP to back it up. And while the former is working toward market presence with some upcoming devices, the latter is, it turns out, a product worth selling in its own right. Our restoration networks correct optical aberrations and sensor issues while efficiently removing noise and outperform traditional image signal processing pipelines at fine texture recovery, explained CTO and co-founder Tom Bishop in their news release. The word recovery is key because DTs are not simply created but extracted from raw imagery. Depending on how your camera stack already works, you may know that certain artifacts or angles or noise patterns can be reliably resolved or even taken advantage of. Learning how to turn these implied details into real ones or combining details from multiple exposures is a big part of any computational photography stack. Co-founder and CEO Ziv Attar says their Neural ISP is better than any in the industry. Even Apple, he pointed out, doesn't have a full neural image stack, only using it in specific circumstances where it's needed, and their results, in his opinion, aren't great. He provided an example of Apple's Neural ISP failing to interpret text correctly, with Glass faring much better. I think it's fair to assume that if Apple hasn't managed to get decent results, it is a hard problem to solve, he said. It's less about the actual stack, but more about how you train. We have a very unique way of doing it, which was developed for the anamorphic lens systems and is efficient at any camera. Basically, we have training labs that involve robotic systems and optical calibration systems that manage to train a network to characterize the aberration of lenses in a very comprehensive way and fundamentally reversing any optical distortion. As an example, he provided a case study where they had DxO evaluate the camera on a Moto Edge 40, then do so again with Glass AI installed. The Glass-processed images are all clearly improved, sometimes dramatically so. At low light levels, the built-in ISP struggles to differentiate fine lines, textures, and facial details in its night mode. Using Glass AI, it's as sharp as a tack, even with half the exposure time. You can go peep the pixels on a few test photos Glass has available by switching between the RAWs and the finals. Companies putting together phones and cameras have to spend a lot of time tuning the ISP so that the sensor, lens, and other bits and pieces all work together properly to make the best image possible. It seems, however, that Glass's one-size-fits-all process might do a better job in a fraction of the time. The time it takes us to train shippable software from the time we put our hands on a new type of device. It varies between few hours to few days. For reference, phone makers spend months tuning for image quality, with huge teams. Our process is fully automated, so we can support multiple devices in a few days, said Attar. The Neural ISP is also end-to-end, meaning in this context that it goes straight from sensor raw to final image, with no extra processes like denoising, sharpening, and so on needed. When I asked, Attar was careful to differentiate their work from super-resolution AI services, which take a finished image and upscale it. These often aren't recovering details so much as inventing them where it seems appropriate, a process that can sometimes produce undesirable results. Though Glass uses AI, it isn't generative the way many image-related AIs are. Today marks the product's availability at large, presumably after a lengthy testing period with partners. If you make an Android phone, it might be good to at least give it a shot. On the hardware side, the phone with the weird lozenge-shaped anamorphic camera will have to wait until that manufacturer is ready to go public, though. While Glass develops its tech and is trying out customers, it's also been busy scaring up funding. The company just closed a $9.3 million extended seed, which I put in quotes because the seed round was in 2021. The new funding was led by GV, with Future Ventures, Abstract Ventures, and LDV Capital participating. CodeSignal launches a learning platform with an AI-powered guide, TechCrunch. Technical assessment company CodeSignal, which counts Index Ventures and Menlo Ventures as backers, is launching a learning platform called CodeSignal Learn. The new platform, aimed at audiences wanting to learn technical subjects, also has an AI-powered bot called Cosmo, which helps users with learning. The company said that there are hundreds of courses available at launch ranging from introduction to programming, tutorials on specific languages, data analytics, and machine learning. Eventually, CodeSignal wants to expand into some non-technical areas, such as management skills, that accelerate career paths. How does the platform work? CodeSignal Learn is currently accepting users through a waitlist. Once you get in, the Cosmo bot asks you questions like what you want to learn and what is your skill level. Based on that, it forms a course path for you. The platform has 2 tiers, and the company has chosen a gamified path to monetize its product. With the free tier, you can go through lessons on your own. But as soon as you ask a question to the Cosmo bot, or ask it to help you with an evaluation of your code, you lose 1 energy bar. Free users get 5 energy bars with a bar recharging every 4 hours. This whole process has a mobile game-like feel to it. If you don't want to go through any of this hassle, you can pay up to $24.99 per month and get unlimited energy. Users can learn about different subjects through text or convert the lessons into a slideshow or video-styled presentation. The company said that it has created courses with subject matter experts to put emphasis on practice-first learning. So the courses usually have 90% of content that requires users to work with an integrated development environment, IDE. Why CodeSignal is developing a learning platform. The company was originally named CodeFight when it was founded in 2014 as a competitive coding platform. But as it evolved, the startup focused more on technical assessment and rebranded as CodeSignal in 2018. CodeSignal CEO Tigran Sloyan told TechCrunch over a call that the co-founders started the company with a mission to discover skilled workers and develop the skills that will shape the future. Sloyan said that the startup wanted to do it all and make an educational product as well. We quickly realized that focus is everything. So we thought we had to fix assessments first, as they are fundamental for both hiring and development, he said. With the new platform, the company is targeting the idea of skill development for people again. We felt that until we figured out a great one-on-one tutoring product, we couldn't have a revolutionary educational product. But with the rise in AI-based tech, we felt this is the right moment, Sloyan said. While the company thinks that the learning platform can upskill a wide audience, CodeSignal thought about its customers and how it could work on closing the skill gap for their workers or folks they want to hire. Competition and the road ahead. Multiple companies are competing in the market of both technical assessments and skill building. Microsoft-owned LinkedIn has both learning and assessment modules. Last year, it launched an AI-powered assistant for learning. Pluralsight, which Sloyan feels is CodeSignal's biggest competitor, also has an assessment product. In the learning space, there are a ton of competitors such as Coursera and Udemy, along with more focused ones like Guild and Articulate. Sloyan thinks that CodeSignal has an edge because it has a practice-first approach to learning. Plus, he believes that the Cosmo AI bot is akin to having a private tutor by your side. The company is also launching CodeSignal for Teams and beta testing the enterprise products, which will offer a more customized version to large organizations. The CEO expects that the learning product will generate 50% of the company's revenue in 2 years. CodeSignal raised its last investment with a Series C raise of $50 million in 2021. While the startup is not profitable yet, it is not looking to raise another round anytime soon. The company has raised $87.5 million to date. The company employs 200 people, almost 3 times more than the 70 people it had on payroll in 2021. For years, we've been hearing about virtual and augmented reality use cases in business around manufacturing, field service, and product design. But for the most part, the notion has failed to take hold in a big way. The question now is whether the Apple Vision Pro, AVP, released last week with much ballyhoo, will move the needle at all when it comes to shifting these kinds of devices into the enterprise mainstream. While most people use terms like augmented reality, virtual reality, or even metaverse, thanks Meta, Apple prefers to define the genre in its own terms, referring to the Apple Vision Pro as spatial computing or mixed reality. In its typical fashion, Apple is trying to define a new category. Whatever you call it, the company certainly sees the AVP as a business device alongside its more obvious consumer use cases around gaming, media consumption, and good old-fashioned web surfing. Certainly it has the potential to transform the online shopping experience. On Apple's quarterly earnings call with analysts earlier this month, CEO Tim Cook emphasized that he was seeing lots of interest in the enterprise. Leading organizations across many industries such as Walmart, Nike, Vanguard, Stryker, Bloomberg, and SAP have started leveraging and investing in Apple Vision Pro as their new platform to bring innovative spatial computing experiences to their customers and employees, Cook said. Notice that reference to spatial computing. Cook cited ideas for business like everyday productivity, collaborative product design, and immersive training. The ability to have a so-called infinite desktop is key to the productivity piece. Users can open multiple programs and move them around a huge palette that gives new meaning to extra screen real estate. Whether these devices are good for content creation, however, remains an open question. With 600 apps announced last week and more expected over time, the Apple Vision Pro lets people access the same apps that they are used to using on macOS and iOS, but tuned to the visual experience of the device. To select an app, users simply gaze at the icon in a similar interface as Apple's other apps, like Safari, Photos, Messages, and Mail. As the gaze focuses on the icon, it lights up and users pinch a finger and thumb together to select it. One of the big differences between this and earlier devices is that even though it goes over your eyes, you can see through it. Apple deliberately designed it that way, letting the user see the world and other people see the user's eyes, so there wasn't as much separation between the two. The company believes that will alter the experience and perhaps generate new use cases. Steve Sinclair, who is part of worldwide product marketing for Apple Vision Pro, says the company sees the device as an opportunity to explore new ways of interacting with software. As our first spatial computer, it's really given us a platform to build upon to create new spatial experiences, he told TechCrunch. We really believe that being able to bring information into your space while allowing you to stay connected to people around you is really important. And that has applications, obviously from a consumer perspective, but also from a business perspective. IDC analyst Ramon Lamas surveyed over 400 US-based IT decision-makers last year at the Apple Worldwide Developer Conference and found there were several potential use cases, bearing in mind that this survey was conducted before people actually laid their hands on one. I think we're still trying to figure out use cases, especially when it has to do with B2B usage, Lamas told TechCrunch. About 56% use it for training, about 44% for customer-facing retail experiences, and 44% for collaboration. Note that none of these use cases involves content creation. Ray Wang, founder and principal analyst at Constellation Research, who has tried the device and is mostly positive about the experience, sees similar use cases. We expect field service, training, and customer experience to be the top use cases, Wang said. Earlier this week, Apple announced it was bringing the AVP under the Apple Device Management umbrella, making it a lot more palatable for IT as a business device that can be managed in the same fashion as any Apple device. But is that enough for companies to commit to a product that starts at $3,500? John Turau, a partner at Madrona Ventures, says, "This pricing approach follows a typical pattern of how Apple tends to introduce new hardware, including the iPhone, iPad, Watch, or any new device. Over time, the company adds functionality and refines the approach, and the price usually tends to come down. And newer versions at different price points have also become the norm. Some people are going to be willing to pay for this. Apple has the Apple Watch Ultra, and there is a market for that. They're trying to find that northernmost price point, and then they will probably come in with another option below it," Turau said. In his survey of IT pros, IDC's Lamas found that Turau could actually be right. 65% of those surveyed were interested in the device as described at WWDC, with around half saying they would definitely buy it. The other half expressed curiosity about it. When you have enterprise users coming back and saying that they want to get their hands on it, I think that speaks to Apple's abilities to court the enterprise user with this device, Lamas told TechCrunch. It also has clear benefits over other devices. Wang called it the best eye tracking he's seen. Think of macOS and iOS merging, and this is what you get, he said. But there are obvious things that will need to be addressed. For example, the AVP is tethered to a battery, which is definitely awkward and a big weakness in Wang's view, but something he expects Apple will fix in future versions. It feels much lighter when the battery is not attached, but that's a temporary thing. I'm sure the power will get better over time, he said. There's also the ability for people to build their own apps. As a developer ecosystem begins to emerge, we will start to see apps created from scratch, some for consumers and some for businesses, that have been specifically designed for this paradigm. Apple has clearly advanced the technology, whatever you want to call it, and created a pleasurable user experience, bringing the outside world in to the extent you want it. But so far, no AR device has attracted companies to buy them at scale. For now, Apple's entry is cool to experiment with. But it's not clear whether people want to wear a device on their face for hours at a time, no matter how good the interface design may be.